There's another big week of live football coming up on Sky Sports. Tonight it's Ewood Park for Blackburn against Chelsea. Tomorrow night at 7:30 over on Sky Sports 2, it's the Worthington Cup. West Ham against Northampton. The Hammers 2 down in that tie. And on Thursday we've a football special. We're off to Old Trafford for Manchester United against Liverpool. 7:30 on Sky Sports 1. Right now though, it's Monday Night Football.
Get ready.
Let the journey begin.
Online launch. Warning.
Ford and Sky gets you there.
They spent as big as anyone in the summer and brought in some real quality as well, but so far it's failed to live up to the star billing, and it's a source of frustration for the manager. Roy Hodgson has a reputation now as one of Europe's top coaches, but he needs a result, and quickly. So it's an important night for both Hodgson and Gianluca Vialli. Our live Monday Night Football comes from Ewood Park. It's Blackburn Rovers against Chelsea, who don't travel well. There's been a lot made down the years about their dislike of coming this far north, but there's something in it. Outside of Old Trafford, where we know they love playing, they've won only 4 of their last 18 games north of Birmingham. And that's a source of frustration for the manager as well. Although this fella should be all right tonight. It's a part of the world he knows very well. And what's the language they're speaking, I wonder? 2 old Sampdoria teammates. Well, this time last year, Blackburn Rovers were top of the Premiership and nobody could stop them scoring goals. They got 15 then. This season, they've got only 2, and that's just one of the reasons why they're in the bottom 3 right now. And Chelsea, of course, are only just outside. So what's happened to these two, who we thought would be challenging?
Well, I think it's been different starts and I think different reasons why they both started not as well as they would have liked. I think Roy Hodgson, he brought in a couple of new players. They lost Colin Henry, and I think that was a massive blow, Richard, and he's hard to replace. I don't think you can replace him like for like. So they've probably missed him. They brought Kevin Davies in, and Kevin's had trouble settling up there. He's lost a bit of weight. He's having trouble with his fitness. He hasn't quite scored the goals that I think Roy would like. For Chelsea, I think when you bring in 4 or 5 foreigners like that, and you ask them to gel immediately, it's tough. And I think that Chelsea fans need to be patient. It's the only way they can do it. But they won't be disappointed. They've had a tough start. They've played Newcastle at home, Arsenal at home. They're not easy fixtures for Chelsea. But it'll be interesting to see how they cope tonight, because as you mentioned earlier, they don't like coming this far north, and they've got to get that right if they want to win the title.
Southern softies is a phrase that comes to mind, harsh as it may
used
be. Well, it's to Highbury right now, where the champions yesterday met the team of the 90s.
That's a free kick that the left footer, Stephen Hughes, has gone across to take. Adams comes forward, Keown comes forward. In towards Adams! Arsenal have a lead that they thoroughly deserve. York, Beckham, shooting chance here for David Beckham. Oh, well, can you come any closer than that without actually scoring? No, was the answer. Anelka is denied by Schmeichel. That was a tremendous stop. Giggs going very open at the moment. Well, we don't want half-time now, Martin. Game's flowing. No offside. Nicholas Anelka. Schmeichel there again. Anelka there again. 2-0 to Arsenal. And Nicholas Anelka, a very, very happy young man. Vieira forcing a mistake then. Anelka can put Vieira forward. Here goes Patrick Vieira. Crashing by Nicky Butt. Tackle outside the area. Now was that in the mind of Graham Barber a goal-scoring opportunity? Well, I have to Carlos, Andy, your thoughts?
I'm astounded, Mark. I have to say, look at Henning Berg's around there. I don't think that's last man. I don't think that's a sending off offence. I think it's half done by.
York gives it straight to Bergkamp, who puts Anelka through. This could wrap it up, but he hasn't. Over miles ago. Hughes. Oh, it's a bit lucky. He didn't aim for Ljungberg, but he's found him. And what a way to start your Arsenal career. Frederick Ljungberg, 3-0.
Well, that didn't affect anything at the bottom end of the Carling Premiership. Tonight will, though. Blackburn, they're in the drop zone right now, and Chelsea just outside. The only team making any sort of progress in the bottom half this weekend, Everton. Charlton, despite a great point at Anfield, actually fell this weekend. Biggest movers, Newcastle United up 5. Manchester United fell 5 places this weekend. Top 6 reads Leeds, Arsenal, Wimbledon, who have made their best start ever, Liverpool, Derby, who have never been in the Premiership this high, and Aston Villa, who are 2 points clear still. Well, I wonder, can Aston Villa sustain it then?
That remains to be seen, Richard. I think there's no doubt that John Gregory will know that the Sternless test is still ahead of him. I think they've had a good start. I think they've met the kind of teams I think John would have been happy to meet early, in respect that they felt they could win most of the games and get some points on the board and get a good start and build confidence. That's happened. The next test for them comes when they start meeting the teams that are really going to, well, the teams that we feel are going to contest the title, the Liverpools, the Manchester Uniteds, the Arsenals. Leeds was an example on Saturday, a good point away at Elland Road, and that's the kind of performances that I think they'll be judged on as the season goes on. But they've got the basis for a good side, because the back unit is good, the goalkeeper's excellent, the back three know each other's play and play exceptionally well, aided and abetted by the wing backs. The three in midfield are good now. I think they've got a lovely balance in there with Thompson, with Henry, and with one of other, whether it be Draper, whether it be Taylor, whoever he wants to pick in.
And he seems to want to buy again as well, so...
I think he has to. I think that the fact that Stan Collimore's not made any real impression this year, he played once against Sheffield Wednesday, albeit not a great performance, and has been injured since. I think John, having bought Paul Merson, I think it's a great buy for Villa, but I think he wants one other up there, and I think he's right. He needs another striker who's going to just give a bit of competition for those places, so that no one gets comfortable. I think the hardest thing in the world to do is to motivate players when they get into that comfort zone. They need to be hungry, they need to want it. And John, if he can keep that hunger and desire in the squad, I tell you what, there's no reason why they can't go a long way. I'm not saying they can win it, but they can't go a long way this season. It's a fighting out at the top.
I think hunger and desire were two of the things that Alex Ferguson was talking about yesterday, weren't they? He felt that his team lacked bite and determination, but you felt there were other reasons for Arsenal's win, didn't you? Yeah,
I mentioned right at the top of the show when we go through the teams, I just looked at them and I thought there's a great area here to look at. One is the centre-backs. Two in Adams and Keown, steeped in tradition, experience, knew each other's play inside out, were tough to play against, tough to break down, and a foreign duo in Henning Berg and Jaap Stam, who are still getting to know each other. They're coming to terms, particularly Stam is still coming to terms with the pace, I think, of the English Premiership. And it was a classic confrontation where which back two would be the better. And I suggested that whoever plays best might win. And I think that went a little way to influencing the result. I mean, so much so that the first goal, Richard, comes from a set piece out here. And all this is good movement from the Arsenal players, as Stephen Hughes has got good delivery. And all he's going to do is just try and arc it into this area. And then he's saying to players, go and attack it. And what he does is he just wraps his foot round it from the wide side. Now, Tony Adams is right here. Jaap Stam is here. And I said yesterday, there's one crucial moment in this as the ball's coming over. Because as he delivers it, it's in a perfect place between his sticks. But just there. Now, if Stam goes up level with Tony Adams, there's a chance that he can put him off or win the header or affect Tony Adams. But watch Adams, watch his experience. He goes up early. There he goes. The left arm comes up. You see it now. It's on the shoulder of Stam. So Stam can't get up. Adams can use that for a fraction of a second. That little left arm, goalkeeper comes, and that was it. That was the key to that goal. Now, you talked about desire and determination. Manchester United give this away, but watch Vieira here. He was given man of the match for things like this. Now, he's lost it there. Now, watch his desire and determination, two words that Fergie used, to get back in. How far is he covering? Look at this. He just didn't give it up. He never quite got to the ball.
It was magnificent, wasn't it?
Look at this. He's back. But then, because he's come back, he now has control of the ball. He has got it, he's facing this way, he can see what's happening. He can get a picture. And Manchester United have just overcommitted a bit here. Because you don't usually find a big gap like that when you play against them, Richard, where someone can get the ball, pick it up, turn, have a little look. And then there's trouble, because just ahead of play, on the left of the screen, Nicholas Anelka. And I said it yesterday, if you hold a line like that high up the pitch, with all that grass behind you, you've got to get it right. Because if you don't, you just don't catch him. You cannot make up the ground. And that's what Anelka's run. It's a cross, we've put it in there. Now look at Stam, he thinks he's offside, the ball's on its way, you can see quite clearly. He's 2 yards onside at least. And that's when I think a defender, if you're that high up the pitch, has got to back away with him, has got to concede ground. Drop off early, there's no pressure on the ball here. So you cannot really hold a line like that unless you get it right. He doesn't get it right, and as soon as he puts his hand up, it's all over. But watch the touch there, that's the key. Because the next touch is a shot. The big man saves it but can't do anything about the rebound, and that was just a wonderful, wonderful forwards run. But little things didn't go their way. Even the third goal, you know, I thought little decisions went against him. As the ball's played in and we freeze it there, he's offside. You know, Ljungberg is offside there, but he get away with it. I mean, it was irrelevant late in the game because they're 2-0 up and Manchester United were down to 10 men. But little decisions like that went against United. But Alex will know better than any. Part of the reason they went against them was because Arsenal showed more determination. And there's always that great line, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I think that applied yesterday.
You also felt, I think yesterday, and you've had time to look at it today, there was a big decision went against Manchester United. Did the sending off affect anything?
Well, we won't know, but 6 minutes into a match, a second half, and you know that Alex Ferguson has read the riot act at half-time. You know Fergie was not being happy with the first half performance, and he sent his players out to up the tempo of the match, get in about it, and make a fist of it. Don't, you know, they were not going to give up. And I was sitting there anticipating one great second half.
Well, we all were, weren't we? Because they came back from 2-0 down last year.
So what it did, it just stopped the game as a contest. I felt that we saw Chelsea, 11-man Chelsea, try to break down 10-man Arsenal, and they found it impossible. And I just felt that 10-man United were going to find it doubly difficult to break down 11-man Arsenal with a 2-goal cushion. And I thought that, I just think when you've got to give players the benefit of the doubt, Richard, in some cases, and I thought they needed it. But yet again, Manchester United, I can't remember how many times they've been caught in possession in the game, as much as yesterday. Again, it's there. But as they break through here, then that might have been a free kick.
Yes, I was
That's
just
what I'm saying.
That could have been a foul, couldn't it?
That easily could have been. The referee's right there looking at it. He could easily have said, well, that's a free kick against Anelka. Free kick, Manchester United, and they're away playing up this way. But he allowed it to go. And I think, you know, it's touch and go. But as he plays the ball there, now I think he's coming in from the side. It's late. Vieira's playing the ball in here towards here, and they still have Henningberg in the picture there. Now, for me, Henningberg's the last defender, not Nicky Butt in this situation. Berg is the last defender, and that was the way I read it yesterday. But as it goes on, he brings him down. Even Stam is getting back. But then I thought, well, maybe the referee didn't quite get a good view of it. So I've had a little look this morning, and we've been working on the virtual picture here and take you down and show you what the referee saw or didn't see. And as we take you down there, I mean, it's pretty cluttered in front of him. Graham Barber, I don't know, he doesn't look to get a very clear view of it. One thing I will say is that the referee said it was a tackle from behind. It wasn't.
No.
The referee said he was the last defender. In my opinion, that's the last defender. So maybe we might get a little bit of justice, and they might have a look at it again.
Yes, well, to be fair to Graham Barber, he did say if asked, he would have another look at it.
Well, I think that's great, because that's what we want. No one wants to see people sent off unnecessarily. It spoils games. What would be worse, I think, is if Nicky Butt is punished twice over, Richard, for something that didn't warrant, in my opinion, and in many people's opinion, a red card. But he may look at it again, the referee, and decide, no, my opinion stands, I think it's a red card offence, and go with it. What remains to be seen.
Unquestionably, it was Arsenal's best performance of the season so far, and a goal from one of the front men, which must also be a relief for Arsene Wenger.
Well, it's a relief for Arsene Wenger, but it's a bigger relief for Nicholas Anelka, because he really had struggled since Charity Shield to get goals. But he had 3 chances. He could have got a hat-trick today, yesterday, and that's what I thought. I thought they did well. I talked to you about getting one of the centre-backs up ahead of play, and I talked about Anelka then either running that way in behind or that way in behind them, and he did that well. This is early on in the match, and I just thought here, Yeah, it's easy for where I'm sitting, but I thought placed along the ground into the corner would have given Peter Schmeichel a lot more problems. That height, it's a brilliant save. I'm taking nothing away from him. It's a brilliant save, but made easier by the fact that he was there. Again, tailor-made for him. They just get a little bit forward. There's a gap in there. The diagonal run, the straight ball, and he's in, perfectly timed. And you don't catch him, Richard. You can't catch him. He's too quick. And he scuffs it.
He was scoring those last season, wasn't he?
He was. But, I mean, he'll come again, because this is a great touch. Just show this again from this angle. Lovely touch. And he didn't give it up. And full marks to him. And I think the goal will bring the confidence back that Nicholas Anelka, who's only 19, I mean, we mustn't forget that this is a young player. And only, if he finishes the season, it'll be his first full season in the English Premiership, and he's only 19 years of age. So he's going to have little peaks and troughs as he matures.
And Patrick Vieira, I noticed today that Arsene Wenger said he felt it was probably one of his top 3 games so far.
I wouldn't argue
I mean, he
with
was
that.
awesome, wasn't he?
I think especially when his mate, his partner in crime, Emmanuel Petit, didn't make the game. It was almost as if Patrick said, right, well, he's not here. We're against Manchester United. I'm against Nicky Butt, and we're against Roy Keane. I've got to be good today. I've got to impose myself on this match. And my God, he did impose himself on the match. He was justifiably man of the match. There isn't a doubt about that, Richard. He gave an awesome midfield performance of power. This is what they do brilliantly. I mean, the fact that he helps out the defence the way he does is unbelievable. But he's maturing so much now that he's I was going to say the complete midfield player. But I guess if you wanted to build a cameo for what would be a perfect midfield player, you could do a lot worse than pick him.
Because he's got a lot, hasn't he? Power, ability. He can be tricky as well, can't he? Scores goals.
Yes. I mean, I can't think of anything at the moment he can't do. I mean, this sort of thing was invaluable last year. Him and Petit were superb at it, shrugging it off. He's got a great build for a central midfield player. He's 6'2" or 3. They win all the little bits, but things like this, I mean, he didn't give that up. He was way ahead, and, you know, all right, he wouldn't have wanted to have seen Nicky, but look at the pressure he puts on him. Unbelievable. And he was absolutely brilliant yesterday, and quite rightly so. I mean, he was so confident by now that he's trying a little shuffle in through, and it didn't quite work, but he gave an awesome performance. It was fantastic.
Right, the weekend's goals and all the talking points in a moment or so, but first of all, the teams. The numbers went into the Chelsea hat earlier. What came out? George Gavin's the man with the answers. George.
Well, Chelsea have mixed it around again, Richard. This time, Di Matteo and Laudrup are dropped to the bench. But the bad news has come for Blackburn with the illness of Kevin Davis. He dropped out of the team earlier today. And without already Kevin Gallagher and Damien Duff, Blackburn have goal-scoring problems. This is how they line up. And there's not a player in that list who's scored so far this season. Gallagher has 2, but he's out. Christian Daly was used as a right-back in Europe against Lyon. His fellow Scottish international Callum Davidson is on the left. Tim Sherwood has been the subject of intense transfer speculation, but Blackburn have resisted all Tottenham's inquiries so far. Chris Sutton was the joint Golden Boot winner last season. He's yet to get off the mark so far this campaign. Martin Darlene has previously only made 3 appearances as a sub this season, linked with a move to Celtic. A big opportunity for him tonight in place of Kevin Davis. And Chelsea, Gianluca Vialli made 7 changes last week for their European game. Only 5 changes this evening. Ed de Hoy is back in goal. Michael Dubry returns in defence. Desailly is restored to midfield. Former Blackburn star Graham Lasso makes his 250th career league appearance tonight. Top scorer is Gustavo Poyet with 3 goals. He claims a place this evening at the expense of Di Matteo. Once again, the strike force is rotated, and it's back to the 2 Italians, Casaraghi and Zola. Brian Laudrup only on the bench, along with Flo and Di Matteo. But more news of Kevin Davis. He was in the team until 11 o'clock this morning, and he reported ill with tonsillitis. Roy Hodgson says it's bad news for Blackburn, but Martin Darlene has been begging him to start again this season. Now's his big chance.
Although, as George said, nobody in that Blackburn team has scored this season. That's a source of some concern, isn't it?
Well, of course it is, Richard. I think that's one of the problems that they have, is that they were without Kevin Gallagher right at the start of the season. He wasn't fit to start the season. That was a blow to them. One of the most potent strike forces, and you don't have half of it at your disposal. That was a blow. And Kevin Davies was bought pretty much, not as much for the future, the present as the future. I'm sure with Roy Hodgson it was an investment, and he would have liked to have just teased him in a bit. He wasn't able to do that. Gallagher comes in, gets a couple of goals, and is out again. That's a blow. But the fact is, I don't think Roy would be concerned as much, because we saw them play at Leeds when they created an enormous amount of chances. And I know they did the same against Tottenham when they played away. And I think that'll be the one thing that'll keep him happy and keep him up is the fact that his team are creating chances. And as long as they do that, I think they'll eventually start scoring, but they've got to do it quickly.
I was going to say, we remind ourselves that 66 goals were scored at Blackburn last year, more than any other Premiership ground. Now, a quick word about Chelsea. Can they mount a sustainable challenge, keep fiddling about with their team?
Well, I wouldn't read too much into the fiddling over the European side. I think what I've looked at today, how many changes are there since the last league game? And there are only 2. And I think there are a natural one. Ferrer's come back in after injury, so that was natural. He should come back into right back. And I think Poyet, who's been knocking on the door all season with his goals, with his performances, has been given a chance to play as opposed to Di Matteo. Now, I think that was a natural choice, and I don't think that he is chopping and changing in the league. I think they've got to have some sort of basis here for a league performance. I think when they play early European ties, I think when they play the Worthington Cup, for instance, I think you'll find that Gianluca Vialli might use those games to give Flo, himself, other people on the fringes a game. Laudrup, who can't play. But I think you'll find that in league games he knows he has to pick his strongest side. There's no use chopping and changing it. Teams need to get rhythm. They need to get balance. They need to get to know each other, even players who have played together for a while.
So it's Ewood Park tonight, Blackburn Rovers against Chelsea. As I said, there were goals galore last season, 66. And that from a man, Roy Hodgson, who famously once said he likes a 0-0 draw. We keep our fingers crossed for goals tonight. Weekend's goals when we come back, and the talking points. And Red Robbie's back. The Premiership on red alert as a result. If you're up and about early at the weekend, with 2 grand finals to look forward to. 5:30 on Saturday, it's the Aussie Rules grand final between North Melbourne and Adelaide. And on Sunday at 6 over on Sky Sports 3, it's the Super League, the grand final between Brisbane Broncos and the Canterbury Bulldogs. Football tonight from Blackburn's Bulldogs. Sort of northern gritty spirit they'll need to take Chelsea apart tonight, who are in a part of the world that has not been productive for them in recent seasons. Now then, let's start looking back at the weekend's goals. Charlton got themselves a great point at Anfield, Andy, but double trouble for the Premiership. Fowler and Owen are back together.
Yeah, we were reading at the weekend that they've been holding Robbie back a bit, and he's been almost begging that we play him since the beginning of the season. We actually saw him in day 1 of the season training after the game with the lads, and we thought, oh, a minute, he's not supposed to be back till December. And we knew then, I think, that he was going to be back sooner rather than later. Got back in, and I think if they gel, and I think they will gel, I don't think there's a problem with it. They're intelligent footballers.
Well, they've played together before, haven't they? And they've scored goals together before.
They've got good movement, they've got everything good about them. So they'll score goals. But my one worry is, the one I stressed right at the beginning of the season about Liverpool, is their Achilles heel. Their Achilles heel at the back. And I think, it was here. This is a game where I think beforehand, Richard, Liverpool go in thinking, we should win it. It was a game that during it they should have lost, and I think a game after it they were happy to take a point. And Charlton must be given full credit for that, to go to Anfield with such an open attitude and really work hard at it.
To go to Highbury, they didn't get a point, and Manchester United didn't score first.
They got a little bit of luck. I mean, I think this is a penalty. I mean, this is brilliant the way he just drops his shoulder there. Now watch carefully there. The contact's just coming in there, Richard. The left foot, and he takes his right leg away from him. That to me is an absolute stick-on. They got away with it. They got lucky, but I think that's a
penalty. I agree with you.
I don't think there's a doubt about that. But again, we have to stress, I don't know how good a view the referee had, but here, one of the things I talked about, how many times have we seen him concede a goal from here? Now look at that. Look at the red shirts. Oh, there's almost 2 of them marking each other there, in that position. And then spare man at the back here, and yet Rufus is able to come in between all of them, and from 5 yards, well, you ain't going to miss, Richard, simple as that. And that's one area that they've really suffered with over the last 12 months. Yeah, I feel they need someone that will just go and head everything away. But in fairness, when they flow like we're seeing here, with Fowler, with Owen, Berger, with McManaman, they are a threat, there isn't a doubt about that. He does brilliantly here. I think this probably isn't a penalty. I'm not so sure how much contact, but what defenders must be warned about now, and it's going to happen, is that if you lunge in like this, players are just going to leave their feet behind. As he pokes the ball, they lunge, they leave the trailing foot behind.
See, I said to
make
you, I thought
contact.
Vieira did that as well.
Yes, they do. I think they do. But that's part of the game now, I'm afraid, whether we like it or not. And it's an impossible one for the referee to judge well. I have a great deal of sympathy with the referee in that, and that's why they get penalties and free kicks. That's what happens. It's modern football. There's not a lot
So the lesson is don't dive in.
I think the lesson is stay on your feet as much as possible, and I think more and more defenders have been asked to do that. A little example here that the wonder kid doesn't always hit the target.
Yeah, missed 5.
And did you notice who took the penalty?
Yes,
Not Michael.
Robbie said, I've been around longer, I'll have that, thank you.
But this is crazy. I mean, you cannot play a little ball like that across there when you've got, that was, how they got away with this, I don't know. A good save, and then, well, maybe they should hit the target. He was under a little bit of pressure. But talk about getting out of jail for that. And even here, they overcommit. I wondered about this. Steve Staunton, as you can see, has come way upfield when the ball's on this side of the pitch. And normally when you play a 4, you don't throw both centre-halves, both full-backs up in the same. But when the ball's come from this side, I think Hegem must be away down the right wing somewhere, because he does like to go forward. We've seen that already this season. And when Charlton break quickly here, Liverpool have got a real problem. Because as they come through, the 2 centre-backs are there. You see them both. But you're going to find that the right back is nowhere near. And this is a great finish. Watch Mendoza, steadies it, goalkeeper comes out, beautiful finish. Well done, son. I think that's a great finish. Great finish. You would have enjoyed that. And he's going to be an important part for them, and whether they can get back in. And you'd expect Liverpool to put them under pressure. I'm quite impressed.
Good save.
Yeah, I'm quite impressed with the goalkeeper, the way they dig in. You know, they've set the stall out right from the beginning. This is unlucky. When I first show that, that's a free kick. But had the referee only looked, Richard, and allowed play on, then that's a goal. And Liverpool might be out the game. You can see
he
that.
wasn't looking behind him.
No, he wasn't. You know, normally they have a quick look, referees, and see what was there, but he wasn't able to do that. This is just a picture goal, this. Watch the way he hits this. How far out is he? Just gets it onto that left foot. He's what? Just 28 yards. Oh, well, you just don't save them. See, he's not even dived, does he, the goalie? Look, I'll just go and pick out the back of the net. Thanks very much. Let's get on with the game. And they almost got out of jail. I mean, Robbie Fowler claiming his second goal here. There's a bit of a... Yeah. He got a bit on it, but I think
not much. Any good striker's going to claim it, but it's not his, is it?
Well, just watch the goalkeeper here. He plays a part because, I mean, in all honesty, as he goes to clutch the ball there, that might be a free kick in any other country but England or Britain because of his foot raised.
Yeah.
But he gets a touch there. Now, as it drops, I'll take it slow. Watch the goalkeeper's hand there. You see his hand on the ball. He just knocks the ball goalwards.
And there's no further touch.
There's none. But I'm not taking off, Robbie. But let me just take this back. This is another what I'm talking about, deficiency. This cross, right? You're 3-2 up in the game. Now that's a bread and butter cross for a centre-half. Two options you have, Richard. To put it straight out here as high as you can for a throw-in. Or, if you're going to head it forward, get as much height and distance as you possibly can and get it up the pitch. The one thing you try and tell a centre-half not to do is head it down, because you don't get any distance. It's headed down, and that's what can happen.
60 seconds after you've scored as well.
Exactly, and they're back in it. And worse was to fall, they could have lost the game. They could have lost it. And I think that was the thing that was concerning them right at the death. Again, another cross. But as that comes in, look at this. I mean, that gap between there and there is unbelievable when there's Clive Mendonca, who's their main goal scorer, who's their main threat, is rising for a free header, and he just can't believe he's put it wide.
Well, Liverpool conceded 3, Manchester United conceded 3 this weekend. They meet on Thursday at Old Trafford, 7:30, Sky Sports 1, we will be there. That's this coming Thursday, Manchester United and Liverpool, 7:30 start on Sky Sports 1. Right, it's Highfield Road now, Coventry and Newcastle United, and the message from the Toon Army is that Alan Shearer is back.
But it's a sexy football. I know you were there. It was 5-1.
It wasn't
sexy football?
No, it wasn't in truth. It was functional football. They were tough, strong and determined, and ran away with it.
And ran away with it. We can have a look at it. But not for the first time we see Coventry, that talent they've got at set pieces, getting the goal. I think they're brilliant at it. It's work, it's training ground, it pays off. I had a good look at this. Was it an Alan Shearer header? Was it a Noel Whelan? Noel Whelan certainly got something on that for me. He was powerful, he wanted to get in there against a pretty intimidating one. But I don't think your manager, little Gordon Strachan, will be happy with an awful lot of the marking. As that comes over, Richard, what we've got here is a standing jump, and I've talked about this often in this show, against a running jump. Davies Ass is coming in.
So why is he standing?
Well, I can only assume that what Gordon does at corners is you mark areas. You mark areas across the edge of the 6-yard box, and you attack the ball, is the theory, when it comes in your area. The problem with it is, if it drops in your area right on your head, and someone is running at it, then I would bet the runner to win the tussle every time. He gets underneath it. I'm not sure who the marker is.
Breen.
Gary Breen gets underneath it, and it's a brilliant header, powerful and unsavable. But I think little Gordon would not be too impressed with that sort of mark, and he pays so much attention to detail that I think they would be a little bit concerned.
It was a good contest for half an hour.
Well, until the second goal goes in, and this is it. Again, how often have I said, if a ball, a big long ball, is allowed to bounce and go up again, problems. And all Alan Shearer does here is once... people say to me, this is a foul. I think he just muscles him out of it.
Isn't it? Yeah.
He's powerful, he's determined, he wants a goal, he knows he's got a chance. And no surprise to see him bury it. And he's on that. Beware teams in the next few weeks coming up.
He's on a hot streak.
Well, he's coming back. And again, here's another great example, Richard. It's a wonderful ball in, because it's where I've always said, it's between the sticks. It means that if you're coming in and heading it, you've got a great chance of scoring direct from the header. But again, you've got two Coventry players standing, and you've got Gary Speed arriving with a running jump. I know who my money's on. Towering header. That's a brilliant goal.
Great header.
Great header. But again, it's very difficult if you're a standing jumper. I always, if I get caught like that, I used to try and lean into the person who was jumping just to put him off.
We're aware of that.
But that's a great goal. Good decision from the referee. See, he was about to blow his whistle, but there he goes, play on, and Stephen Glass is through. And I think this lad, I think he's going to have a great future in this game down here. He was a big star at Aberdeen, one of the best young Scottish players, and I think that he's going to do particularly well. I think he'll get a run from Rotula, and I think he might just do well. Natural left-sided, but it was one of those days for your team, I'm afraid, son.
Set piece again.
Yeah, another one. Well, listen, when you've
Wouldn't
been
have mattered a great deal.
But here was it. This was the final, and again, I mean, as he comes in there, that's a great header from there. But watch him, young kids watching at home. Watch the desire in that guy to get his own header. Absolutely fabulous. And as I said, beware future teams.
Alan Shearer, number one.
I wouldn't argue with that. I think his body language has not been great in the beginning of the season. I think he's looked a little unhappy, and a little unsure of what's going on at Newcastle. That to me was the first time this year, since his injury even, that I've seen Alan Shearer back to what we know. And
he was lively afterwards. His whole body language, let me tell you, was lively.
Alan,
we saw Leicester City take Derby apart at the back end of last season. County had their revenge this weekend.
They did, but they needed a little bit of luck. I mean, this a decision that went against Leicester at 0-0. Let me just run that. But as it comes back, and it comes from, I think it's Guppy crossing it, this is the key, because the referee's there. Now, the incident is a penalty incident involving Robbie Savage and I think it's Stefan Schnur. But as they come in here at the back post, I mean, all I can say is that is a push. That is a penalty. But the referee is looking right across here, Richard. I'm not sure how good a view he gets of it, A. But one thing I do know, as I run this on, is he must have had a pretty good look at it.
So did the linesman at Highbury, you know, that incident between Button and Nelka. So
but I just don't know. You see, some referees, so I'm led to believe, and perhaps somebody will let me know if I'm right or wrong, that sometimes referees tell them not to flag unless it's for offside, and only or flag all the time. It depends what they are. But as he hits this Schnur again, he's the, what do you call it, the wing back, I suppose, the new player. That's as good a strike as we've seen this season, over 70 miles an hour. Great play from Dean Sturridge, so could have easily been a penalty, but kept going. That was a wonderful strike. And they get in a little bit too cheaply here. He won't be happy, Martin, when he sees three of his players just taken out by a little run on the blind side, and they never quite get it together. I think it's Schnur again. What a game he's had. Lifts it up, and he's back in business. We're all favourite. Look at that, great control, and how he wraps that foot round that. It's just unbelievable. One chop back in business.
And how often have we sat here and said, well, Wimbledon surprised everybody. They continue to do so. Their best ever start. They took Wednesday apart this week.
Well, I have to take my hat off to Joe Kinnear and his boys and say, fantastic. I thought it would be a tough season for it. It might yet still be, we don't know. We're only talking 6 games in. But all I do know is the old spirit's there, and they're working at it. And the old build up to the goals is same as ever. You watch this.
Hasn't changed either.
I'm sure. I mean, look at the length of this throw that's coming in from here. This is halfway, and it just launches across here. And as ever, they don't clear the first header, they're in trouble. But Jason Newell's shot here, it's arcing away from Kevin Pressman. That was a brilliant strike. And that's one of the tactics they use, and brilliant to them. And here's the other, the long ball. Now watch Yule's run. I've marked it in here. Right? It just leaves. Now, midfield players, you've got to track him. You have no excuse here. If you're running with him, you cannot quit. That's just not allowed in the professional game. I think when Danny Wilson sees that, he would have a word with him, because Yule kept going, and he got through and he got in. Goalkeeper might have done a little bit better, but that is Wimbledon. They got back in it Wednesday, who, again, there's a lot of work to be done there, I think.
Yeah, they've lost 4 out of 6.
Yeah, Danny, and he's fallen out, well, maybe he's fallen out with Paolo Di Canio, yeah, who was left out, came on as substitute, did get a goal, you know, but I think Danny's finding, you know, life at a bigger club. Pretty tough.
We've had a response already, incidentally, to your inquiry. We are told by Stephen Lodge at Blackburn that no linesman is instructed to keep his flag down.
All right. Well, Kenny Dalglish doesn't know everything about football then, does he?
Maybe that linesman should have had his flag up there.
Well, there you go then. Obviously, they're not, the linesman himself then is making the decision not to get involved.
Their assistants, they should assist, I think. Would that be fair?
We'll see.
Right, it's Blackburn and Chelsea tonight, live on the Monday Night Football. Marcel Desailly. We're looking forward to seeing him tonight, aren't we?
Oh, I mean, it was brilliant against Arsenal.
Not half. Not half. But they're having a fair bit of trouble, aren't they, right now? Chelsea, mixing the Foreign Legion together. It's fair to say, I think, that they're not marching together right now. And we'll be talking about Chelsea after the break.
In an era of time and motion, going at it, hammer and tongs. Supply must meet demand. A Ford football special, Man United v Liverpool, Thursday night, 7:30, Sky Sports 1. It's more than an industry.
Johannesburg is an overnight.
Have we got some top-class golf this week as well? Thursday from midday, it's live action from the European Tour with the Lindt German Masters. Then later, at 10 o'clock on Sky Sports 2, we're switching to the US Tour for coverage of the Westin Texas Open. That's this Thursday. This evening, the Monday Night Football takes us to Ewood Park. It's Blackburn Rovers against Chelsea, but before that, let's look back at the weekend's goals we haven't seen yet. Middlesbrough and Everton, first of all. 2 more for Hamilton Ricard, and 2 vital goals for Everton as well.
They were, I think, well, first and foremost, Borough. I think Brian Robson will be absolutely delighted with the start. Richard, they're in the top half. They're up into 7th place already this year. He talked about, right at the beginning of the season, the importance of getting a good start, scoring some goals, getting some points on, and not chasing their tails for the whole season. And what I think he might have found is a couple of front men that are working extremely hard for him as well. And they combined against Spurs to give them 3 points the week before, and they almost probably should have given them 3 points again. He'll be a little bit disappointed, Mikael Beck. The goalkeeper doesn't do well here, but what, as that drops there, God, that must be close to being over the line.
You never know, though, do you?
No, you don't know. He might have got hooked clear, and I think Ricard's got every reason to go in and get this. But this is a great goal. He gets lucky here, but watch how quickly he has a little look back and delivers a peach of a cross. Angled, and Ricard's just going to pull in behind the defender here. Lovely little run as it drops over. I think it's David Unsworth. I'll tell you what, that's as good a header as we've seen this season.
Great header.
Fantastic
Great header.
And from there, and at half-time, I think Robbo would think we should go on and win this game, and he'd be really disappointed they didn't. I think the 3 centre-backs, we gave them great plaudits last week at Spurs, but I think when people run at them might cause them problems, and I think that's an unnecessary tackle from Vickers. I don't think Kadamathri's going anywhere apart from out of play. The ball runs out. Michael Ball, I think it was.
Not Collins this time.
No, slots it in good, but Collins must have been feeling a bit peeved about that, because he comes up here and hits an absolute screamer from the edge of the box, Sean Collins, to give Everton a very, very precious point. And they've had a steady start, but I think Rob will be really disappointed they haven't gone on and won that game from 2-0.
And the Saints have got their first point on the board at last at home to Tottenham at the weekend.
Again, I think this is a game that Tottenham will feel they should have won, and won quite comfortably. At 1-0 up in 15 minutes, first 15, 20 minutes of the second half, they really should have gone on and won it, chance after chance, but, you know, we can only look at the 2 goals. And it was so important when you're Dave Jones' side to get a point. Good little spin and finish from Will Fox. but you need to dig in. And he'll be pleased that his team's heads didn't drop Dave Jones. And they kept going. And, you know, Letitia, he said he wants to play. He said he'll score the goals. There's a ball just dropped over. They get a little bit of confusion again at the back, but watch this for a strike.
It's 200 senior goals. There's only 4 players in the Premiership currently playing who have got more. It's a staggering record he's got, isn't it?
It's a fantastic record. It's one that actually Ron Atkinson used to quote to me 7 or 8 years ago when I was his assistant, because he was very keen on buying Matt. And I was saying, no, what do you want? No, too much wrong. And he's going, have you seen his record? I said, no. And he trotted it out even then. And it was astounding to think he's taken that on, Matt, into the Premier League. And when he hasn't played for an awful lot of games, it's quite astounding to think what he could have scored.
Extraordinary. This time last year, Chris Sutton had 6. Kevin Gallagher had 5 as well, mind you. But Sutton here had 6 goals, hasn't scored this season yet. Why not? What's changed? What's happened?
Well, we don't know. I mean, Chris Sutton, his game is more than scoring goals. I've watched him closely at times this season. The majority of his game is in good working order. He leads the line extremely well. His touch has been good. His build-up play has been excellent. Now, he needs service. He needs crosses into the box. He needs the balls played in where he can get on the end of. Whether he's been getting that, I'm not quite sure. You need a bit of luck. But I think very much like Alan Shearer, he's the kind of guy that when he gets his first goal, beware who play Blackburn next. Because it's amazing how you go on runs, Richard, as a striker if you haven't scored. You'll be disappointed. I don't think he'll be too anxious. Sutton doesn't strike me as a kind of guy who gets disappointed easily or who gets nervous because he hasn't scored for a few games. I think if a chance comes along tonight, it drops at his feet or on his head, I think he'll smash it in.
Right. They're not scoring, Blackburn Rovers. They are also conceding goals. Now, Colin Hendry's gone. We know that. Is that one of the reasons why?
Well, they've not conceded a huge amount. They've conceded 6 goals this season, but I had a look at them today and I thought, well, let me have a look and see, are they missing Colin Hendry? Is there something in there? And I think one of the things I noticed in the games is a little bit lack of concentration. They've got caught ball watching and lacking in concentration. This goal against Leeds is a very good example, because as Hasselbank drives in, Rich, and plays the ball, everyone, the defenders all start to look at the ball, and no one makes a run with Hasselbank, and they just reverse it round behind Hongshaw, and that's a goal. That's just a little lack of concentration. A goal against Sheffield Wednesday, players getting in easy. I know they're 2 down here, but just the way that he's just going to make a little run in between here and get in so easy, so comfortable. And it's too late. By the time the pressure comes across, it's too late. He can't stop the cross, and he's empty at the back stick. And then 2 goals that they conceded against Tottenham are great examples. As that comes in, Les has just made a straightforward run. But you look at that. How many players are there? 4 Blackburn players are standing in that bunch there. And Les just runs in. It's just lack of concentration.
Too easy, wasn't it?
It was too easy. And the one that clinches it for me is the winning goal in this match. I mean, remember, they're getting a point here. But Alan Nielsen is on the ball here, Richard. He's going to thread it across the Ginola here. He's going to make a run there. And all I'm saying is that someone, whether it be the midfield player, whether it be centre-back, should pick up that run. But watch what happens. Now, it's just lack of concentration along here. Because Ginola just tucks it into the right foot, drops it into the box. Who arrives? Look at that. He's right in between players. He's got in it. Just run in there, untouched, and he's won the game for Tottenham. So maybe it's just a little bit getting to know you, and a little bit of concentration, and a little bit of work. Not a great deal, though.
Sutton hasn't scored, but he knows his workplace. He maybe isn't too worried. What about Kaziragi? As part of the Foreign Legion who haven't settled just yet. Is there goals in Kaziragi?
Well, I'm not convinced in Pierluigi Casaragi's goal scoring at the highest level. I'm talking about in the Shearer mould, in the Owen mould, and the Fowler and the Wright mould. I think Casaragi's he's a great team player. He'll work his socks off from minute 1 to minute 90. Right across the line, help his defenders. He'll do all of those things, Richard. I'm not so sure. His record in Italy is 1-4. Now, we know Italy's tough, but I think even if he got 1-4 here, he's only going to get 9 goals a season in the league. I think they're maybe needing a player who's going to get more, if they're going to win the league, Chelsea. But, I mean, he may prove me wrong. He's gone close this season, even from day 1, against Coventry away. You know, chances and chances in the game. He gets himself in good position, but I'm not so sure how natural a goal scorer he is.
Well, he's a replacement for Hughesy, isn't he? He was never prolific himself,
no,
but he got his fair share, didn't he?
Yeah, Mark got an awful lot of important goals, Richard. He never got an abundance of them, but he got a lot of big goals. I mean, this was good forward play. Pops it off, in behind the defenders, good strike. But, I mean, even here, good alert play from him. I'm not sure about that natural killer instinct. I'm not sure how much it's there. But I think he's got in good positions, he's threatened, and you never know, tonight might be his night. If he gets one, I'm sure he'll score. He's an international, he's played many, many times for Italy. He's scored goals for his country. But I don't think he's an Owen, a Fowler, a Shearer, a Wright, in that respect.
Tough one to call this, because as we said right at the start of the show, two teams we'd have expected better off at this stage. But I'm going to have to ask you, what about this evening?
There's a surprise, there is a surprise. I think it's tough. I mean, I thought yesterday was tough to call because there were two giants playing that want to win the title, and a lot of quality players here. We've got two teams here who have made quite a few changes in the summer, brought new players in. There's no doubt on paper that the quality side is the Chelsea side. I think it's a better side on paper, but as many people who've managed sides tell me often, you never win a match on paper. But the quality is there. I think if Chelsea play well, and at their best, I think they can win the game. You know, but I think that it's a bigger game for Roy Hodgson's team, because I think if they lose tonight, and then they have to go to Everton on Saturday, or at the weekend, then they could be really stuck down the bottom. And I think Roy will send his team out really flying, really purposeful, but I do feel if Chelsea play well, they can win the match.
To Ewood Park then, commentators tonight, Trevor Francis, who's enjoyed mixing it with his Italian mates this evening, but it's English from now on, Trevor, and Alan Parry.
Thanks, Richard. Good evening. Ewood Park saw more goals than any other Premiership ground last season, 66 in all, 40 of them scored by Blackburn. But Trevor, this season the feast has turned into a famine, just 2 so far, and one of them was scored by the opposition. Can you explain it?
Well, I think any team depend greatly on their front two, and I think last season in Sutton and Gallagher, they had the most prolific goal scorers in the Premiership. For various reasons, Sutton's been off form, Gallagher's been out the side through the fact that they were playing Kevin Davis, now he's injured. And I think also Tim Sherwood from midfield, he got 7 goals this season. They are short on goals in those areas, but they have got some good players. I think it can come right any moment. Could be tonight, Alan.
Well, let's look at Blackburn's lineup. With 4 defeats in 6 games, it has been a very disappointing start to a season which had promised so much for Blackburn. And it's easy to see where that problem lies. Just those 2 goals in 6 games, both scored by Kevin Gallagher, who's again missing because of injury. And also out is the club's record signing, Kevin Davis, who has tonsillitis. Martin Darlene taking his place. But Roy Hodgson isn't the type to panic. He feels Blackburn are playing better than results would suggest, and he sticks by a pretty tried and tested lineup.
Yes, just continuing the theme what we're talking about, Alan, I think another reason why they haven't started particularly well is that undoubtedly Roy Hodgson has decided to change the face of the club. If you just look at that back 4 there, Christian Daly, Darren Peacock, Callum Davidson, they're all new players. It's a settling in period for various players. We've seen Hendry leave, we've seen Ripley leave, but still the system remains the same, 4-4-2. Unfortunately, they're without their strikers, Gallagher and Kevin Davis. But it's a chance for Martin Darlene, experienced international player, but obviously the most important man for them is Chris Sutton, prolific last season. If they decide how to start returning to winning ways, it's important that Chris Sutton starts to score goals for them.
But like his predecessor, Ruud Gullit, Chelsea manager Gianluca Vialli has no fears about frequently shuffling the pack. He made 7 changes for the last game against Helsingborg, and he switched things around again tonight. Ed Gahoy is back in goal, Michael Dubry returns in defence, Marcel Desailly reverts to a midfield role, and Vialli leaves out himself, Tore Andreflo, Roberto Di Matteo and Brian Laudrup. Trevor, are you a fan of this rotational system of team selection?
Well, I don't think at the moment that Vialli is rotating. I think possibly when it comes to a cup game that may be the case. But tonight it's about winning league points, and they desperately need points. I think this is his strongest side. So if that means Di Matteo and Laudrup on the bench, I think so be it. It's a system, 4-4-2, very similar to Roy Hodgson's at Blackpool. I think the only significant change is Desailly, who appears to play at the back when it comes to a European game. But today he's going to anchor the midfield. Wide areas, Poyet, a very, very dangerous player on set pieces, terrific in the air. He will look to try and get forward on that right-hand side. Andy was mentioning Kazaragi. I think he's a terrific leader of the line, makes some great runs. I agree, he's not a prolific goal scorer, and certainly when you look at both teams, strangely, they're both very, very short on goals.
Both teams ready to go then. Chelsea with only 1 defeat in their 6 league and cup matches. That was in the opening match at Coventry. They've won 3 and drawn 2, and it's worth pointing out forget that league table. Chelsea have actually played 2 games less than most teams before tonight. Blackburn Rovers 6th in the Premiership last season. In the first half, they really looked like challenging for the league title. They only suffered 3 defeats in their first 24 league games over the opening 6 months of the season. Then it all went pear-shaped, as they say. They lost 9 of their last 14 games and only just scraped a UEFA Cup place in the end. But the enthusiasm hasn't dimmed here at Ewood Park, and like all fans, they believe this is the night their fortunes will turn for the better. A troubled start then for 2 of the top 6 finishers from last season, and who would have believed when this fixture came out that Blackburn and Chelsea would be in the bottom 6 tonight. We'll have the whole match live.
Our Football League action this weekend takes us to Prenton Park on Friday at 7 o'clock, Sky Sports 2 for Tranmere and Swindon, and on Sunday at midday, again on 2, it's Crystal Palace and Sheffield United. Thursday night, remember, it's Manchester United and Liverpool. This evening, it's 1 apiece. Blackburn Rovers 1, Chelsea 1. A brief look at the match facts. That's the only one that really matters. 1-1, we've got a game and we've got goals, Andy.
Yeah, I thought this had a chance of being a good game, which I said to you there. I thought there would be goals in it. There's been more than that. There's been a lot of good, exciting football. But for 23 minutes, you know, until the equaliser, you were thinking that this is Chelsea. Chelsea was slicking it about, had gotten the goal, almost got a second with the move of the match. And then, wouldn't you just believe it, 1 minute later, the equaliser goes in. And suddenly, since then, the confidence has come back into Blackburn, and they've been the team who's looked most likely to get a second goal.
No surprises when Zola stepped up that he scored, but might Tim Flowers have done a bit better?
Yeah, I think Tim has caused himself problems here, first and foremost, Richard, by trying to get someone on the post. I've always said that when you do that, what you do is encourage other players in. And that's exactly what he's done. Look at that. 4 players now have gone in there, blocking him off. And when Zola runs up, what he's trying to do now is he's going to run out and get these offside.
Which he does, successfully, doesn't he?
And the new instructions, Richard, if you're coming out with him,
no problem.
You can't be given offside. No. So that defeats the object for me. But then when Zola steps up to take it, and just as he hits it there, well, suddenly now Tim Flowers has got another wall to contend with. You know, an unwilling wall. One not of his making. And I just think if he would take it down here now into VR and just show you what he's looking through, I mean, it's not only has he got that wall to contend with there, but he's got 3 other players now in front of him forming a wall that he doesn't really want. And I think if they're not in there, I think he saves this. I think it hinders him a bit.
He doesn't seem to react anyway.
No, he relaxed late, right, as you watch as it's on its way. He's not even reacting yet. It's halfway there. And he's only just starting to edge his body. And then, by then, it's too late. Because it isn't, Richard, off the post. It isn't just skimming it. It's a yard off the post.
David Seaman did well with 4 of Beckham's like that yesterday.
Yes, because he didn't have anyone in there. And I think that unwilling second wall almost affected it.
OK, and then Zola could have had 2. But, I mean, you've always talked about the value of a good block on the line.
Oh, this was great defending. But I'm just going to let this run, Richard, because this is the move of the match. LaBeouf starts it. Just watch the interplay, the movement, the passing. Absolutely first class, the awareness. And then just when he thinks he's scored, that's what defenders are paid for.
As good as a goal.
That's a super block. That is as good as a goal.
And then virtually, well, less than a minute later almost, it's 1-1. Again, that underlines the value of the clearance there.
Oh, without a doubt, because they're 2-0 down. And this is a straight, because for once, Flitcroft has made a run here, and he's done it often. And what he's done, he's split the three defenders suddenly, Richard, who were very comfortable. LaBeouf's attracted out and doesn't get a good header. Suddenly they're struggling. I think he should do better defensively. He should do better. But I said to you, if he gets a chance, Sutton will score. I felt he's confident, he's that kind of guy. That just was a little example. And he's been magnificent for Blackburn tonight.
Should Blackburn be in front?
Yes, he should, because Flitcroft should score right on half-time. A wonderful opportunity for him. He scored. It's a great move. Again, it's his forward running. And people just don't catch him. He's going to come in here, Richard, and just make a run in there. It's a lovely run, but Dennis Wise gets caught ball watching, and suddenly Flitcroft's away, and really it's pick your spot. He should be hitting the target. And what's life as a manager like? Oh dear, let's have a look.
Frustrating at times.
Well, it can be. It can be. He thinks he slipped that in.
It's almost the wrong foot, isn't it?
Ah, it's close. It's very, very close. There you go.
Should be
a manager.
Should be in front. It's 1 apiece though at Ewood Park. It's poised very nicely for a second half. Long trip north, isn't it, if you're a Chelsea fan? And Blackburn Rovers, who saw their team go behind, maybe thinking, well, we should be in front at this stage. 1-1 at half-time. The second half comes next. That's a wonderful way to start the week, and we've got 6 more live matches before next Sunday. West Ham and Northampton tomorrow night in the Worthington Cup. The Hammers 2-0 down in that tie, remember. That's on Sky Sports 2 at 7:30. On Thursday, a football special on Sky Sports 1. Manchester United against Liverpool, 7:30 start again. On Friday from the Football League, on Sky Sports 2 at 7, it's Tranmere against Swindon. Again on 2, Sunday at midday, Crystal Palace against Sheffield United. We're with Leicester City, who play Wimbledon for a Super Sunday, Sky Sports 1 at 3 o'clock, and that's followed at 6 o'clock on Sky Sports 3 by Aberdeen and Kilmarnock. Tremendous array of football. Match facts tonight. 4-3 to Chelsea. It ebbed and it flowed, it seesawed, it had the lot, didn't it? 19 attempts from Blackburn, on target with 10. 14 from Chelsea, on target with 8. It's impressive. 13 corners between them across the night. 1 sent off from each side. Lasso from Blackburn. Perez, who was booked twice. Lasso from Chelsea, Perez from Blackburn. Possession, 50% apiece. Action areas, well, again, you couldn't really get much between them. Just over 23,000 in. And the man of the match, I'll take your pick, really. The rush of votes towards the end of the game for Tor Andre Flo, not surprisingly. Chris Sutton got 18%. Gianfranco Zola won it with 41%. So well done, Zola, receiving his Carling Man of the Match champagne. Maybe that'll get opened on the long trip home as well. And Simon Hibbert from Essex wins the replica jersey tonight, so well done, Simon. I mean, I think you were the late callers, weren't you, for Flo?
Yeah, I just think that goal scorers make themselves men of the match, Richard, by doing just that, scoring goals. The lad was on for, what, 15 minutes, if even that. He scores 2 great goals. He's only denied a hat-trick by 2 fantastic saves from Tim Flowers in the last minute, and he's walking off with a hat-trick. I mean, his contribution in 15 minutes was far beyond what you'd expected from him. Great goals.
Once again, you're left wondering, why does this fella not start?
I can't understand it, Richard. You know I'm a massive fan of this lad. I've watched him mature in this country and playing, and I can't understand why he isn't in every week. I think he's got everything. He's got movement, and even here people talk about him. He's got enough pace when he's clear to control the ball, to slot it, a cool head. An absolute top-class striker for me. I'll be amazed if he doesn't play next game.
So much good to talk about, but 1 or 2 controversial incidents as well. The booking, for instance, of Graham Lasso.
Well, I think these are things that we will look back on. I think they were all contentious decisions, Richard. I mean, I just thought the booking, first and foremost, I thought that Perez was very, very, very unfortunate. Very unfortunate. We can look at it. It's got it here. The first one.
So this is where we started, really.
This was the first one, I think, here, because this is early on. That, to me, is an absolutely perfectly timed tackle. He does nothing wrong. He goes low, single leg stretched out in front of him, meets the ball, and that was it.
So what got him booked then? The reaction?
Well, I don't know. Maybe the way Graham Lasso fell. But there's a linesman, Richard, standing, what, 1.5 feet away from the incident, who doesn't flag for a free kick. The referee was 50 yards away, other side of the pitch, runs across and books the lad. I don't know what got him booked. It was a poor decision, in my opinion, to book Perez for that. And then the second one, well...
So he's created himself a problem if he wants to book Perez for the incident second time round, hasn't he?
Yes, he has, but we can see the referee in the shot here, Richard, but what he's booked him officially for second time is pulling of jersey, pulling Graham Lasso's jersey. Now that to me is ridiculous. If you start booking players... Now you tell me what Perez has done wrong here. Tell me. Go on. Tell me.
Well, he's maybe thrown an arm there, but I mean...
Shut up.
Now listen, I'm not defending the decision. You said tell you. I'm trying to.
I mean, I'm
with you.
I mean, that's ridiculous. He's no more than 10, 15 yards away from that incident.
Graham
Lasso has got no case to plead here. He has got to go. You know that. You raise your arm, you strike a player, you're off. He had to go. I've got utmost sympathy for Perez, who's gone off here. He was absolutely astounded, the lad.
We're booking for shirt pulling. We could end up with two aside, couldn't
we?
But he
didn't pull the shirt either. There is no evidence in the pictures that he pulled the shirt. He was trying to get out of the way. Graham had his shirt, was pulling it, and then thought he'd cuff him across the ear. He had to go. I've got utmost sympathy for Perez.
Right, 2 penalties. Taylor 2 penalties as well. The first one, Roy Hodgson went potty about.
Yes,
now,
he did.
Why do you think that was?
Well, he went potty because it was given. It's as simple as that. But remember right at the beginning of this show, we looked at Michael Owen and we looked at things, and I said... Vieira, and I said, this is now in the game, that players are going to tempt people to make a tackle and leave their feet. They're leaving their feet. They know what they're doing. They're going to leave their feet in, and when there's contact, it's difficult for the referee.
Simeone and Seaman.
Simeone and Seaman is a great example, and this is it. Now, Tim Flowers maybe will regret coming, but I'll run this slowly, Richard, and there is definite contact. Zola's not going to get this ball. As a striker, he wants to win it. He doesn't care where it's going, but from there is contact. He leaves the left foot, and Tim catches him with his left hand. From the referee's position, which I've seen during the match there, he had a clear view of it. He saw the contact, and I think from where he was, he had to give the penalty.
Right. What about the second one?
I think it's a penalty. Again, I think we have a defender making a rash decision. If he stays on his feet and just sends him across, there's no problem. That's a penalty. You can't even argue. You can't even argue a case there. That's a penalty. But I do have sympathy with Blackburn. I felt that any little decision went against them tonight, and even more so when I think they were winning a game. They're 3-2 up in the game. They should be playing 11 v 10. They should maybe be cruising. They've had a tremendous amount of bad luck. They've had a magnificent leader in Chris Sutton, I thought, up front, who gave an impressive performance of front running, and 2 goals to him. And I just felt extremely sorry that there had to be a loser in the game, but I thought every little decision went against him. I didn't think the referee had a particularly good game at all tonight. I thought there were certain decisions that I didn't agree with, I couldn't agree with. Others that I would hold up my hand and say, yeah, I can understand why he gave it. I'm not saying it was right, but I can understand why he gave that decision. But I thought it was a game that didn't deserve a loser.
For the neutrals, it was an absolute stormer, wasn't it?
If you don't care who wins, which we don't, it was wonderful fair. It was great to sit here and watch and be absorbed by some wonderful football, by some real competitive football. You know, everyone competing, no one giving up, and it was a pity that someone has to lose.
Roy Hodgson, who we saw lose his temper there fairly dramatically, is with George Gavin.
Roy, an amazing game. Thanks for talking to us. It must have been an emotional high and low for you. Can you believe you've got nothing out of the game?
No, not really. I mean, I think that the penalties are a very unfortunate incident. I mean, I know he's very, very good at that, Gianfranco, and but a goalkeeper like Tim Flowers is not going to pull him down in that area there. And I think that, you know, it was a very unfortunate penalty for us to concede. We did ever sort of come back to 3-2, but then we were hit by the sending off of Sebastian Perez, you know, who had the misfortune to put his nose in the face in the way of someone else's elbow. And, of course, that helped Chelsea, because when the game, there was more spaces to play, and 10 against 10, actually, funny enough, it suited them better. But having said that, you know, we worked so hard to come back from behind twice and get into the lead 3-2. We should have got something out of the game. But, you know, the incident they're showing here now, I mean, there's no way that Tim's trying to foul in there. In fact, I mean, basically speaking, he doesn't touch the ball and Zola's throw himself down. That's a very, very harsh decision. I'm sorry to say that, but it is. And I thought also the offside decision at the end, 9 times out of 10 that goes your way. Today it didn't. No doubt the slow motion cameras will show something different, but 25,000 people in the stadium thought he was offside.
You're looking for goals, you found them, Chris Sutton's got you a couple, and just the luck against you, think, tonight?
No.
Or decisions?
Well, I mean, it's like everything else. I mean, it's one of those things that certainly I don't think decisions went our way. I don't think we can say we were particularly favoured by the referee on tonight's performance. But having said that, Chelsea did very well. They played some good football. They came back well, and of course they did score 2 magnificent goals. The last 2 goals are fantastic goals. And they played some very good football in that last 10 minutes when, as I say, the spaces opened up. It was 10 against 10, and they played better 10 against 10 than we did. But having said that, I can't really criticise the players for the effort they put in. I can't really criticise anybody on tonight's performance. But once again, you know, we've given ourselves an uphill task, because a game which could so easily have netted us 3 points has netted us 0.
Roy, thanks for talking to us.
Pleasure, George.
That's why I was booked, you see. He got his face in the way.
I mean, as I say, I had to...
I know you're still in.
And I actually forgot about Flo's winner, Richard, because you and I were sitting here watching it. I thought, he must be offside. We didn't see an angle that conclusively proved he was onside. I mean, we have to assume that the linesman got that one right.
2 or 3 decisions.
So there are 2 or 3 decisions that sometimes go for you, go against you, but I mean, big ones that went against him tonight, I have to say.
But as you say, if you don't care who won or wins, wonderful match. Let's have a look back at the best moments from the game. We could be here all night, actually.
You know what, 90 more minutes? I'm for that. I mean, but I honestly, I don't know. I had a feeling about tonight that we would get goals. I don't know why.
I had an odd feeling about tonight, I have to say. But
no, I felt that both teams here were set up to get goals, for the reasons that they've had quiet starts, and they made changes, and we had some wonderful football. I mean, that's a needless free kick. We haven't got time to analyse everything. But sometimes when a ball's played up to a front man, as a defender, you have to accept you're not going to get there, and just hold your line. They've given a free kick away. We talked about it at half-time. I think Tim gave himself more problems by bringing in, I don't know who's on the Honcho, is it, that was on the post?
He wants to go the other way, doesn't he?
He does want to go the other way, but I mean, I just think, you know, normally I think if he sees it come over the wall, he just uses his feet, like David Seaman did yesterday for David Beckham on 3 or 4 occasions, and catches it quite easily. That's one of the moves of the match. And this was where it was flowing for them, and at the moment you thought, well, Chelsea are going to run away with this. Callum Davidson, great defending, it's worth a goal, so much so, because a minute later, Chris Sutton gets his first goal. He does brilliantly. I don't think Graham Rousseau did enough, but Sutton did great. I told you if he gets a chance he'll score. He's not a player that worries Richard about not scoring. I thought he was immense tonight. Great front running. You know, for England's sake, it would be nice if he patched up his differences with Glenn Hoddle.
Yeah, well,
he's too good a talent to not have in.
Yeah, he said he wasn't in the right form to even make a case at the moment, but maybe after the 90 years.
Well, I'll tell you what, there's nothing been wrong with his form in general. And from this moment, you know, from the equaliser though, suddenly Blackburn, and for the rest of the first half, looked the side more likely to get the lead. I mean, Gary Flitcroft just here does the right thing. He's looking to aim at far post, but because he's side-footed it...
He wants opposite bend on it, doesn't he?
Well, he's side-footed it, and because of that, Richard, he gets a little bit of spin on it. If you watch closely at this angle, side foot, now it starts to bend.
Yeah.
You see the spin on the ball just taking it away, and that was the only thing that stopped it going in. If he hits it straight, it goes in. But the little spin on the ball just took it wide of the far post, just arced it wide. And then the big controversial moment. I understand, I know what Roy is saying, he has won the penalty, and he's exactly right. But he's won the penalty because the goalkeeper goes to ground and there is contact. Now, you see the left leg, I've talked about this, people will leave their trailing leg now. If defenders slide in and go to ground, or if goalkeepers go to ground, it is tough for a referee to know then if a player's done that.
You watch their faces, there's a bit of squealing going on as well out on the pitch, isn't
but
there?
Did you not notice though, Richard? Roy Hodgson was the biggest one who was complaining there. Not many Blackburn players actually made a protest about the penalty. And to be fair, they cleared their head and got themselves back in it. What a game
2-2 that one.
I mean, I can't believe this lad. I mean, he's come on, he's played tonight, he's done well. He gets his team back in it. And then, you know, it's crazy for him. But they played ever so well. Again, wonderful play and that, great save. I mean, apart from Tim Flowers' save from Flo late on, that's as good as any from Ed De Hoy. And it was great stuff. I mean, that's the incident. Well, I tell you, look where the referee is. I'm not having that the boy deserved to get sent off.
This time the linesman did see something. The flag is up.
Yeah, well, what's happening? I mean, well, I've got sympathy with him, I have to say.
But none for Lascelles.
And it might have influenced the game, because from having a man extra, Roy now finds he's a man, he's level. And this lad just cannot believe he's off. Cannot believe he's off.
For shirt pulling.
For shirt pulling. And this, he tempts him in, going away from goal. You see what I mean? There's no need to make the tackle. He's going away from goal. He's going out the penalty area. He's going away from danger. Stay on your feet. I think more and more defenders will be taught by their coaches and their managers to stay on their feet, not to dive in.
So that's Blackburn in front now at 3-2.
And then inspired substitutions, I have to say. Laudrup on and Flo on. Davison gets on, put it in, and probably only Flo at 6'4" or 5" could have reached it. You know, that's tight. I think you might have the far side,
top end,
Christian Daly at right back might well have been keep playing him on. And I think that's close to call, but we've always said if it's tight, then certainly the neutrals want to see it go on. And when he got in there, I thought he was certain to just roll it to Laudrup. But he's obviously saying to his manager, you have got to pick me, Gianluca. And Gianluca might have to pick him. Well, he might, because he almost...
The accent was cracking me.
Oh, was it? Was that an accent? I thought it was just normal. But this is going to be interesting, because I thought we saw Laudrup now, Rich, when he came on.
He made a case as well, didn't
he? Play in the position where I think he's got to play if he wants him to... I mean, this is a magnificent save. But getting back to Brian Laudrup quickly, I think Laudrup, we saw make his league debut, full game, start the game, outside right, right side. Now I think Laudrup's forte is play him anywhere, play him off of a flow, off of a front man. And it may be that he has to pick between Zola and Laudrup, Flo and Kasaragi to get his best two. But that's why he's manager of Chelsea. He makes those decisions.
Carling Premiership, Blackburn stay where they were, with Coventry and Southampton in the drop zone. Chelsea, you can see, have made some dramatic movement tonight, up into 11th place, 8 points now from their 5 games played. Everton, the only other movers in the right direction this weekend, but backwards after that result tonight. And don't forget, Thursday, we've got Manchester United against Liverpool, who find themselves in 3rd place tonight. Derby a second, Aston Villa lead the way. And here's the Chelsea boss, Gianluca Vialli, with George Gavin.
Gianluca, can you believe you've won that game?
Not yet. I mean, it was a very exciting game. The way it went is unbelievable. But I think that both of the teams worked really hard. They both deserve to get something out of the game. Unfortunately, for them at the end, we won. I'm very happy about the reaction of the players after the first half, in which we didn't play really well. But in the second half, I think we showed the famous fighting spirit that everybody says that Chelsea hasn't got. So the players made my day, because this is the spirit we have to show week in, week out. And if we keep going like that, I think we can achieve something really nice at the end of the season. It's just a matter of learn things when we do something wrong, and keep improving and keep maintaining this kind of spirit.
Surely Torre Flo must start the next game?
Yeah, that is going to give me a headache next time I have to pick the team, because I've got so many great strikers, and it's always difficult to make the right decision. But I know that they're capable of doing great things. Gianfranco, Gigi, Torre, Brian, they were unbelievable today. They worked their socks off for 95 minutes, and I've got Matt Nicholson at home, myself, even if I'm getting a bit old for this kind of game. And so I'm very pleased, and I think I would like to mention Brian and Torre, because they were set on the bench for 65, 70 minutes, and when they came on, they made such a great job, and this really pleased me.
And just quickly, Graham Lasso sending off. Any complaints at all?
No, I haven't seen the images yet, but something went wrong, I am sure. But that was a very physical game with plenty of ups and downs, and both teams try to win, and sometimes you lose your, how do you say, fair play. And but I think that Graham knows that something must have been done wrong.
Well played tonight. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Yes, yes.
Lose your rag and then you get sent off. That's what he was looking for, wasn't it? Football this week, we've got West Ham against Northampton from the Worthington Cup tomorrow at 7:30 on Sky Sports 2. The Hammers 2-0 down in that tie, remember? And on Thursday, and we're still drawing breath here, Manchester United against Liverpool, Thursday, 7:30, Sky Sports 1. That's an absolute must. Enjoy it, in a word.
Fantastic.
See you Thursday night. Goodbye from both of us. Tremendous stuff.
Gone and close the curtains, 'cause all we need is candlelight, you and me, and a bottle of wine. Hold you tonight. Well, we know I'm going away, and how I wish it was so take this wine and drink with me. Let's delay our misery. Stay tonight, fight the break of dawn. Come tomorrow, I'll be gone. Stay tonight, fight the break of dawn. Come tomorrow, I'll be gone. There's a log on the fire, and and it burns like me for you. Tomorrow comes with one desire, to take me away from the truth. It ain't easy to say goodbye, darling, please don't start to cry. 'Cause girl, you know I've got to go. Oh, and Lord, I wish it wasn't so. Save tonight and fight the break of dawn. Come tomorrow, tomorrow I'll be gone. Save tonight and fight the break of dawn. Come tomorrow, tomorrow I'll be gone.